We interrupt this program to give you a bulletin just received from one of our naval units at sea. A large object traveling at supersonic speed is headed over the North Atlantic.
Once a normal, voluptuously beautiful woman, she drove into a nightmare of horror and saw descending from the sky.
Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
Ooh, I feel retrogasmic.
Retrogasmic. Retrogasmic. With Didi Deluxe
and Hetty the Bomb.
Welcome to the Retrogasmic Podcast. I'm Didi Deluxe.
And I'm Hetty the Bomb.
So first of all, we'd like to make a massive shout out to the team at Rockabilly Show and Shine. The festival was last weekend down in New Brighton, near Christchurch, and it was utterly brilliant.
Yes, we really enjoyed ourselves. So much going on. There were markets. There was a brilliant car show, biggest car show they've had so far. Bands, Pin Up, the Southern Belle competition happened. It
was fantastic. Every year it gets bigger. This is our second time we've been down, and it was definitely one of the events of the year. In a couple of weeks we'll be putting out a show with interviews and more about that fantastic event. Today we have an interview with former Sex Pistol Glen Matlock. He'll be telling us all about his new album Good to Go, and he talks about life on the road, his bandmates, which include members of David Bowie's band and members of the Stray Cats. No, you know, only a low-key lineup.
Gee, Didi, how did you manage to get an interview with him?
Old mate, thankfully. He's a QPR fan, the same as me, so we both support the same underachieving football team. And hopefully we've got the exclusive on 2 or 3 tracks. We've also got our Where's Winky spot, and of course the vintage trivia. In fact, should we do the vintage trivia now?
Well, why not? What's the question?
Okay. Vintage trivia question. The Italian scooter company, Vespa, what does Vespa mean?
Now that's Vespa,
yes.
In Italian.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Okay, answer later on in the show. So we're going to kick off. This is a track off of Glen's new album. This is real good rockabilly stomper. This is called Sexy Beast.
A home and a fun. She makes everything worthwhile.
Sex appeal, sex appeal, sex
So on the line we should have Glen Matlock. Hello, Glenn. How are you?
Hey, Duncan. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. So, new album. Good to go. We've been listening to it for the last couple of days. Good work, mate. Got to say. Loving it.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. It's come out all right, actually. And it's been a bit of a while in the making. Us older blokes have struggled to get records out these days. With all these young whippersnappers around and stuff. And I called it good to go because it's finally good to go.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I've got to say the songwriting is great. There's a real kind of big spread of different styles on there. There's everything from Chill and Cloud Cuckoo Land and Sexy Beast are kind of they're almost like medium paced rockabilly songs. You know, they've really got that retro rock and roll thing. And then
I think Slim Jim's got a bit to do, but Slim Jim Phantom plays drums on most of it, and and I wanted to do it with him because it's the difference between like a kind of a middleweight boxer and a heavyweight boxer. You know, he's the middleweight. He's a bit lighter on its toes, I think. Yeah,
because he just plays a stand-up three-piece kit, doesn't he?
Well, he would have sat down. He said, I want you to stand up. I said, I want you to play that in the studio. And he was cursing me, when you do the third take or something, and he's getting on. Well, he's not as old as me, but he's like, could have done with a sit down,
Yeah, for sure. So, while we're talking about the band members, it's a hell of a lineup, mate. So, Slim Jim, obviously from the Stray Cats, plays drums on most of it. Yourself playing acoustic and a bit of bass, I'm assuming.
I think I might play bass on one or two songs. My mate Jim Lowe plays bass. And he's a record producer in his own right. He does all the stereophonic stuff, charlatans and all that malarkey. But he plays guitar, but he's happy to play bass with me. And what I like about his bass playing is he plays exactly what I tell him to, and he's happy doing it.
Well, that's good. I mean, this is your creation, so that's fair. And Earl's guitar playing on some of it, mate, is
I know it's great, isn't it? Just, but it was kind of sort of organic. Although their names, they're mates as well. They've become mates over the years,
sure.
and I'd done something with Earl. Well, I was getting on for 8 years ago now. Nothing, some session thing that I think a musician's life is peppered with things that take off, and then loads of things that people have a go at doing, and they don't quite take off for whatever reason. And I did a thing with him and Clem Burke and this guy called Keenan Dufty, who's a mate of mine, who's a fashion designer but sings a bit.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to Earl. And then the first person I asked to do the album was Slim Jim. And I said, any ideas for a guitarist? And he said about Slick. And I didn't know that he knew him, but he'd actually done a band with him, and they'd had a hit in Australia. I don't know if it made it to New Zealand in the late 80s or something.
Okay.
As Phantom Rocker, Lee Rocker and Slick. So it kind of sort of squared the circle a little bit. Sorry, my mobile's going. I'll turn it off.
Popular man, mate.
All of a sudden, there's nothing on the telly, that's why.
So,
actually, it's Burton Albion versus Nottingham Forest. Right, and Burton Albion got the ball and they go into the... How many 8-yard box? No, he's wasted it. No,
people tuning in weren't expecting a commentary on Championship football, mate. For people that don't know, Glenn and myself are both Queen's Park Rangers fans.
You are.
So again, just a bit of background.
There you have it. Look. 2-0. 2-0.
So Earl was Bowie's guitarist for what, 3 or 4 albums?
Well, he played. His main album he did with him is Station to Station. That's his sort of main one. But he was his live guitarist for many a year, and he took over from Ronson, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Al's told me a few stories that, Bowie sort of didn't call him, and then he did call him when he was stuck, and then he was back in, and he was, but it's sort of Bowie's call, really, which Al's fine with. But, I mean, before that, he played with John Lennon. He's on the Double Fantasy album.
Oh, really?
So he's really lucky to now be playing with me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the, the solo work's fantastic on the album, but some of the kind of the EBow guitar sounds on there work beautifully. Really.
Yes,
really...
I think one of my favourite tracks on the album is "Speak Too Soon." I sort of had this. It's the one with the castanets, and to me, it's got a bit of a. Every song's got a starting point, and for me, that one's either "Stand By Me" or Spanish Harlem. I like all that kind of stuff, but with a modern lyric. And Al said, "What shall I play?" I said, "Well, I've got this guitar lick, but it needs something else." Well, how far do you want to go? I said, "Well, let's just see." And he got his EBow out. This thing, go on then. And this cool, and there's a great solo off of him, and he even does this little strummy thing at the end that I'm sure he must have played many times live. At the end, the boys keep swinging,
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it's a really distinctive sound. It works really well. I recognise Wanderlust, of course. That's a great.
Yeah, that one I wasn't going to do, and then in the course of doing, I recorded about 16 or 17 songs, so there's more stuff in the can. But when you start listening back to it, you think, that makes it. That's kind of good. I'm kind of getting to here with this now. Yeah. And you think, hang on, it's got a bit of a little bluesy feel. And I've always liked that song, Wanderlust, and I thought, right, now's the right opportunity to kind of do it. It's a bit more bluesy with a guitar lick than it was originally.
No, it works really, really well. And I've got to say, at the moment, my favourite song is Montague Terrace. That sounds to me like a big dusty...
What's one of the other ones?
Huh?
I said, what's wrong with you? That's the Walker song, but it's such a fantastic song. And we only did that. I've been doing it live, just really, because I love the song. I'm a big fan of people like Jacques Brel, that French chanson kind of tradition. And to me, it's like Scott Walker tried to write a song like that and succeeded admirably. And I learned it. And I was doing it, and it was quite funny doing it.
It's a great version, man. It's a really good version.
Well, I've just been doing it acoustic live for a few years, and it's quite funny seeing these big heavy punks down the front going, "Ah," and then in the studio, Slim Jim broke the snare on the snare drum or something. He was piddling around. I just started playing it. El said, "What's that?" I said, "This is Scott Walker song." And he went, "Wow, that's great, man." He said, "I got a part for it. Can we do it?" So I went, "Yeah, all right then." And then I could see in the studio there was a pair of kettle drums which Slim Jim was eyeing up, I'll go on in, let's whack it all on there. But it's kind of good, so it's like orchestral without an orchestra.
No, it works really
If you
well.
listen to the original version by Scott Walker, which he did it with a 76-piece orchestra, and it's got the best dynamic between the verse and the chorus hammering in. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't break the pressing plant when they did that. No, really, you should check it out.
I will do, mate. I will do. Hey, so I remember a couple of years back we were chatting, and you said, I'm gonna go and do a few solo gigs. That must be the biggest understatement of the year. How many countries have you played in the last 2 or 3 years?
Quite a lot, really. I've never added it up.
I mean, just run down some of the countries you've played in even in the last year.
Well, Korea. I've been to Korea twice. Japan, Scandinavia, Italy, quite a lot. France, North Wales. If you saw me on Facebook page, I went and played in Port Marion where they filmed the
prisoner.
Yeah, and I got inducted. I'm in the Cape Club. I got a cape, and I'm number 25. In the prisoner, it's like I'm not a number. I'm a free man. Yeah. And what's great, I even bought a pair of socks, and on the socks it says, "I am not a number. I'm a free man."
That's fantastic. I like the idea of you in a Rick Wakeman cape. That's good.
You
played in New Zealand.
Cape. It's a different cape. I draw the that, but
yeah. So you did some Aussie and New Zealand gigs as well, didn't you, last year?
Yeah. Well, that's not this year, but yeah, it was about this time a year ago. So I've done that. Then I went on to America, and I did a tour with Clem Burke and Mike Ness from Social Distortion and Waterloo. It was the 40th anniversary of the Heartbreakers LAMF album coming out. That was fun, actually. Yeah, I like doing different things.
We've certainly been busy.
It makes life interesting. You know, people always forget it's work. You know, you get paid for doing it, and you get around. You meet people, and it's great seeing you. And
I mean, you've got two grown-up lads, haven't you? How do you kind of balance the being away from home all the time and still being a dad?
I think they like me being away, and when I'm here, they're off out somewhere anyway. You know, they've been gigging quite a lot, yeah, get on with it. They're their own men these days.
Oh, that's good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's just getting back to Good to Go, the album. I'm hearing. I'm assuming your big influences. There's a lot of little bits in there that remind me of some of the songs Stevie Marriott wrote. If you know what I mean.
Which ones?
Well, Chill a little bit.
You think that's surprising me. I mean, to me, that's
and Hooks in You as well.
Well, Hooking You to me is my tribute to Screaming Jay Hawkins. It just lyrically, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 2-1 now. I am concentrating. I love that line in the song. I don't care if you don't want me, I'm yours. You know, I think that's quite a good starting place for a song. And I also always like The Loved One by In Excess. Do you know that track? Baby, I want you back. I need you so can't go on. Baby, I want. Oh, hang on, it's in the wrong key for me. I started off in the wrong place.
I'm gonna release that as a bootleg now, mate.
It's a great vocal, Michael Hutchins.
That.
It's kind of got a bit of that going in. To me, Chill, lyrically, I don't get the Stevie Marriott thing.
It just reminds me of it's kind of
goes bonkers these days. Nobody gives anybody any time to just sort of think things through. I just think if everybody just said their piece, stood back for a couple of minutes, just chill out a little bit. And I'm really proud of the lyrics on that one. The second verse goes, there won't be no nail in our coffins, won't be no stitch in our shroud, won't be no runaway train rolling down the track that only gets derailed. You know, we just got to learn to chill a little bit, you know. But musically, it's got a bit of Nina Simone going on, I think. You know, like My Baby Just Cares for Me.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
So you're wrong about Steve Marriott. Now, if you said another one...
Go on.
I don't know.
Tell me which one I should have picked. I mean, there's definitely... I know. There's definitely bits... There's definitely Small Faces influences that kind of... You hear them just in little bits, either in the way you're phrasing stuff or in some of the kind of the song structures, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe. It's classic songwriting. They're one of my all-time favourite bands that I listen to a hell of a lot. I think
Ogden's is one of my favourite albums.
Sorry, say that?
Ogden's Nutflake is one of my favourite albums of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty wacky. And I was actually, I don't know, in the Small Faces. I did some gigs with the Faces, and it's about 6 or 7 years ago now. And it occurred to them that the Small Faces hadn't played any of those songs live since 1968.
Wow.
With Ian Magrin and Kenny Jones. So we learnt as an encore. We learnt All or Nothing, which is quite easy to play.
It's a great song, fantastic song.
And Tin Soldier, which is actually quite complicated. There's lots of changes in it. And we did it the first time. We did the Vintage Festival down near Arundel, you know, where there's a big...
The castle.
Yeah, the castle, and there's a race course, and they have a sort of a car thing there. It's sort of not Brooklands, but it's something like that. And we did it, and we pulled them off. And as we were walking off stage, Ronnie Wood said to me, he said, Glenn, how about that? He said, me and you, we played 2 Small Faces songs with 2 of the Small Faces, and we got them right. And he weren't joking; he meant it. You know, he was so effusive about it. It's great. I love that bloke. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's great stuff. So, just a little bit of history. What? How did you? No, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna.
Jimmy Langley.
Well, how did you first start? Kind of becoming a musician. I mean, did you get the classic piano lessons as a kid, kind of thing, or I mean, how did you kind of end up as a bass player?
Well, my nan used to play the piano, kind of in a bit of a Mrs. Mills kind of pub pianist kind of way, although I never saw her play in a pub, but she had an upright piano at home and I used to tinkle on that, and she'd show me a few little things, but she had no musical idea. And then I wanted, then I was a child of the swinging 60s, but too young for it. And there's all these bands on a TV show like Ready, Steady, Go, which was the best rock show ever.
Yeah.
What an education, seeing the Kinks and the Who and the Yardbirds and the Stones, plus Dusty Springfield and Smokey Robinson and Junior Walker and Sam Cooke, playing live. Yeah. You just don't get it. And sometimes most of all those people in the same show.
Yeah.
It couldn't, and I think that's when pop songwriting was at its zenith. And it just kind of picked up, and I said I wanted a guitar for Christmas, and I got one, and it was a Plank, and I struggled to learn on it. And then I didn't bother for a bit, because it hurt your fingers, And then I met a mate at school who was learning the guitar. Funnily enough, his name was Steve Jones, but it was a different Steve Jones, and he was like 1 week ahead of me. So 1 week he would show me the A chord that he'd learnt the week before, and then the next week it would be the D chord, and I kind of got into it. So I played with him a little bit, and a couple of other people had guitars, but then somebody had a bass guitar for sale, and I thought, well, I'll get that, and I did, and I took it home. And then I thought, well, hang on, I can't hear nothing. You've got to plug it in, so you've got to have an amplifier, which I didn't have. So what I did do, I used to take the jack lead, take the end off, and attach it to the leads on the stylus of the radiogram. And it sounded fantastic. It's the best bass sound I ever had. But, so I'm doing that. But then you think, hang on a second, playing bass guitar by itself is like the sound of one hand clapping almost, You've got to play with other people. And I did something with a couple of mates at school once or twice. Then we made too much noise in the sixth form up, so we couldn't do that. And then that was my first punk moment, because the vice headmaster, Don Palmer, asked us to play at the school dance. And I said no. He said, what do you mean no? I said, well, we haven't been out to rehearse because of you telling us to shut up. So we don't know nothing, so you can't do it. So it was like... And then I started working at Mountain McLaren shop. And I was also interested in bass because I dug the Small Faces, and they were always a bit different. They was the antidote to all that Mersey Beatles.
Yeah.
Codswallop. They were a London band, which is what I liked about them more than anything else, and they had Cockney accents. And they were a bit different. But within them was Ronnie Lane always seemed a bit different. I just sort of, he wasn't my hero, but I just kind of picked up on what he was doing a little bit. Anyway, all that put together, and then I started working at Mountain McLaren, who ended up managing the Sex Pistols. He had a Teddy Boy shop down the King Road. And that's where I'm Steve and Paul.
Yeah, because didn't Steve and Cookie work at the same shop?
No. Well, they did work it, but what they was working at was a scam to try and nick things, and it was my job to stop them, basically.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I had this band, and for some reason I was trying to get Malcolm involved, and he used to humour him. And then one Saturday afternoon, he said, how's the band going, lads? Sort of laughing behind his hand. And Paul said, well, I don't know, we're trying to take it seriously. And our bass player, who was Paul's sister's fiance, Del, never turns up. And I said, well, I play bass. And they said, you do? What bands do you like? And I said, Faces, my favourite band, because it was the Faces by then as opposed to the Small Faces. Yeah. And they went, that's our favourite band, come down. So we went, and there was another guy in the band originally called Wally Nightingale. They weren't even called the Sex Pistols then, they didn't really have a name. And I went round his house, and the rest is history. And I played a Faces song, Three Button Hand-Me-Down, which is kind of quite complicated, but they didn't know. But it was the only one that I knew all the way through.
That's
so
brilliant.
I was impressed with my musicianship, and then not long after that, I would see him out and about at gigs, and I went to see Ronnie Wood. He was doing a solo show with Keith Richards and Mac and Willie Weeks and Andy Newmark at the Gaumont State Theatre in Kilburn, or Kilburn Gaumont, or whatever it was called. And I went with my girlfriend. We had cheap tickets upstairs, and it wasn't all totally full. So we went up to one balcony, and then we thought, no, maybe we're on the next one. And it was all dark, and all of a sudden there's all this scuffling noise. And I thought, what's that? And then all of a sudden these urchins appeared who bunked in down the roof, all covered in soot and dust. And it was Stephen Paul and a couple of their mates. And I thought, oh, here we go.
So they basically got up onto the roof and come in through the ceiling.
Yeah, something like that.
So let's play a song off the album now. What song?
You never get around to it.
What song do you want to play, mate?
You know, I know there's a time difference, but not that much. What do you reckon? Let's liven people up a little bit. I like, I don't know, but Chill, actually. That's kind of all right now.
Okay, let's play Chill. So this is Chill off of Glen's album Good to Go.
Been going round and round in circles, non-stop round the clock. All the time spinning on a dime, don't seem to want to stop. We
Great stuff. So you've got a new updated website, glenmatlock.com, is it?
No, it's not. Don't go to glenmatlock.com because somebody stole it off me and won't give it back.
You're joking?
No, I don't know what they're going to do with my website. But I didn't steal it. I wasn't that up to date with paying the subscriptions, and now somebody else got it. And they put all adverts on it, and they won't reply to me. And we tried to track them down, and there's some mailing address in Bolivia or somewhere like.
So what's the web? What's your actual website?
.co.uk.
.co.uk. Yeah.
So I've not long got that one up and running, but it's got info on where I'm at where you can buy the record, and there's a couple of videos up on there that I did over the past sort of year and a bit. There's one for a version with Earl and Slim Jim in it. We did a cover of Pharrell Williams' "Happy."
Oh, I saw that. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Rockabilly version of that. And then there's one for a track called Sexy Beast, which is one of the ones on the album, which is an out-and-out rockabilly thing. But that's just me in that. And there's also a really good video, which is just me, but it is my record, and for Hooking You. So you can hear the track and see me prancing around.
Okay, so we'll play Hooking You later on. That's a great song. So just I think for people that aren't musicians, if you've not gigged and toured, it's hard for people to understand how it affects your kind of not your mental state, but you've been touring solo for quite a long time, so you must be spending a lot of time in between shows. I mean, let's face it, all musicians spend ages waiting around. You're always waiting for something. So you've been to lots of countries, lots of flying, lots of travelling, lots of hotels. How do you kind of, how do you handle that?
What, the loneliness of the long distance musician?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
it's not that bad. I'm quite an affable chap because I've been doing it so long. I've got mates all around the world now, and you tend to hook up with people. And sometimes my young lady comes with me, and she's very good at sort of glad handing people, and it works. I mean, sometimes. Last time I came to Australia, last time I came to New Zealand, but I was in Australia first, and I played with some Australian guys over there as a backing band.
Yeah.
But I had to change planes in Hong Kong, and sort of I landed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had like 5.5 hours to wait, and I thought, what on earth am I doing this for at my age?
Yeah.
And then I got on a plane and sort of snoozed, landed in Adelaide, get out the airport, it's 10 o'clock at night there. It's 80 degrees and it's December. I thought, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. so there's a bright side to everything. And actually on that trip, I was really quite pleased because I came home finally. So I flew to Australia, went on to New Zealand, then went straight to America and then did a tour of America and then came back to England. But I'd actually circumnavigated the globe in one direction for the first time. And I felt like Sir Francis Drake.
That's fantastic. So
I wanted to go and singe the King of Spain's beard,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be the first thing I'd want to do. You must have a fair few...
Francis Drake. It was like a spin-off from Robin Hood. And Queen Elizabeth I, it always panned through these kind of leaded windows, and there'd be a model galleon floating. You're supposed to think he was on the sea. And she never quite knew what to do with him because he was troubled with Sir Francis. And she always said, go and singe the King of Spain's beard. There you go.
So you must have a few air points then.
I've got a few, actually. If I play it right, I've got to the end of March to become gold on British Airways, and they're stingy. But
that means you get to sit in the special lounge, doesn't it, with the free croissants and the proper coffee?
Well, I can do that anyway, mate. I'm silver at the moment. That's kind of that.
All right, see, us plebs, we're always the economy in with the sheep,
Well, I'm not always at the front, but if you just build it up, well, I'm never rarely at the front, but I'm rarely right at the back either. But what's good is you get an extra bit of luggage, and you can get to jump the queue. So.
That makes anything that helps when you're travelling. Yeah. So let's have a listen to this. Effectively, this is the single off the album, isn't it? Hooking You.
Yeah, this is the first one off the album, and as I said before, yeah, check this out. If you like it, go on the website and you can see a little video we knocked up for it.
So it's glenmatlock.co.uk. So let's have a listen. Hooking You.
Tell you why I'm lying. I'm gonna make you mine without even trying. Without even trying. Tell you what I do without even trying. I'm gonna get my hook in you. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, better believe it, yeah. I'm gonna get my hook in you. Gonna go to town. I'm gonna go to town. I know I'm on solid ground. Won't be no hesitation. Won't see no fluctuation. This is a situation. Here's the inside information. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, better believe it, 'cause I know you know it's true. Whoa. So that you know there ain't no doubt about it, yeah. I'm gonna get my hook in you. It's an open and shut case. You better watch this space. Tell you why I'm lying. Gonna make you mine without even trying. Without even trying. Tell you what I do without even trying. I'm gonna get my hook in you. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, better believe it, but I know you know it's true. Whoa. That you know there ain't no doubt about it, yeah. I'm gonna get my hook in you. 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 I'm gonna get my hook in you.
Thanks so much for talking to the podcast. I really appreciate it, mate. What's your plans for the rest of the year? Where you playing?
I don't actually have a lot. I might be doing a few more shows in London. El's going to come up. We did a thing tail end of the summer at this place called Boysdale's. El came over for that, and then we did the 100 Club, and we're talking about doing some more at the beginning of December. But basically, what I'm trying to do now is take a bit of time out and set up next year. You know, I want to do more band shows.
Absolutely, yes. So would that be UK, or are you going to get around the world again?
Well, they'll have me ready, you know. So let's talk about the States. I've been offered to go. Well, I've got some solo shows in Italy, but of course, gigs are like buses. You don't have any, and then 3 come along at once. So the same 3 gigs I got in Italy at the exact same time. I've been offered to go to Brazil to play with this guy Supla, who's a mate of mine, to do some art centre kind of thing, a couple of them, which I'd like to do. But they're all on the same day.
Oh.
You know, so the rest of January. isn't. But if I go to Brazil, I might then go into Argentina to do some stuff and combine it with, kind of trying to push the record a little bit.
Is that the first time you've been to South America?
No, I've been a few times. I love going there. Buenos Aires is fantastic. They built it at the beginning of last century, but a houseman designed it who designed Paris.
Oh, okay.
It's really, there's lots of poverty in their version of the favelas. They don't call them that. But there's these majestic boulevards and nim spots and the Recoleta. There's a fantastic cemetery. It sounds a bit weird, but it's like a little village because it's all the
like the one in Paris,
houses above ground with street lamps in it, and that's where Eva Peron is buried. It's a bit of a shrine kind of thing, but it's really kind of quite happening down there. And I played over there with this band called Los Violadores, who were like the Sex Pistols of Argentina when the Junta was on.
Yeah.
But really good musicians, great lads. There's a guy called Stuka who's the lead guitarist. So I might do that with them as well. But there's also about going to the States and maybe doing Coachella and South by Southwest. And there's a bit of talk about coming back to Australia.
So would you come over to New Zealand again?
Well, I'd love to. I thought I did quite well when I was there. I had 2 pretty much sold out shows in Auckland and Wellington. What was the name of the place in Auckland I played at?
Tuning Fork, I think.
Yeah, Tuning Fork, and then in
That's
Wellington. Yeah.
Well, look, if you come back to New Zealand, you've got a backing band here, ready-made. Guarantee it.
Well, that's good to know. But I'm annoyed with you because last time I was going to treat you to lunch and you snuck out and paid. So I was annoyed about that.
Just being fair, I know how hard it is, mate. You can't just throw money around. So look, thank you so much.
It's old mates, Duncan. So there you go.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, mate. Best of luck with the album.
Thank you very much. Glad you like it.
And we'll talk to you again next year, hopefully, when you start your new tour. And with luck, we'll be in the playoffs by then.
Well, do you know what? I think the way they've come on the last few games, I haven't been down there yet, but I watched the last 2 games on the box, and everybody's been raving about it. So, we'll see.
Don't
speak too soon.
No. This is Queen's Park Rangers we're talking about, so I'm just expecting the worst. So
what do we sign off with? Come on, you super.
Hoopsa!
There you go.
All right, mate. Thanks for talking to us. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Where's Winky?
Hello, here's Winky.
Winky, where are you?
Right, well, actually, I'm in a little bit of a dilemma, guys. I'm actually stuck in my bathroom and all these curlers have become stuck in my hair.
How did that happen?
I have no idea. I was trying so hard to look just as fabulous as those ladies the other week at the Very Vintage Day Out, and here I am with half a dozen curlers in my hair stuck.
When you say stuck, do you mean that the pins have got stuck, or they've come unravelled, or they've all got caught together, or are you stuck to something?
My hair is all wrapped up in these curlers, which are then plugged into the wall, and I am stuck to the wall.
Plugged into the wall?
I'm plugged into the wall. I'm terrified my hair's going to burn off, and then no one will ever be able to recognise Winky again.
So hang on, when you say you're plugged into the wall, do you have some kind of heated roller drying apparatus?
That's the one. I'm only new at this game. That's the one. They're heated rollers, and trust me, they're well and truly heated.
Okay, so safety first. I know we're on the podcast, but can you unplug it from the wall first of all? The worst thing that could happen was for you to die live on air. So just
they're unplugged. It's all good.
Unplugged. Okay. Now, I don't know anything about rollers, and Hetty isn't here, unfortunately. I'm sure she'd be able to talk. If she was here, she'd be able to talk you down a bit like those airplane films,
But I tell you what, though, I'm still looking bloody fabulous today.
Go on, tell us about the rest of the outfit. We'll ignore you from the eyebrows up.
Right, good on you. So I am wearing today my Flamingo Hell Bunny Vixen dress.
Nice.
All in pink, with, of course, a whole head of rollers going on.
Okay, so I'm thinking some kind of hat, and you'll be fine.
Oh, actually, that is a really good idea. I actually bought a box hat the other day. Maybe I might just walk around with a box on my head for the next 3 weeks.
A box hat?
I bought a box hat.
What's a box hat?
Well, I believe that they were around in the 30s, and it's like a steampunk. But I don't do steampunk, but I figured one day I'd have a really bad hair day, and maybe today's the day.
Can't you just wrap it up in a cool kind of turban or a scarf or something? The box hat might look a bit weird.
That would be a little bit sensible, though, wouldn't it? This is Winky we're talking about.
This is true. And so you've got the pink flamingo dress on. What about your shoes?
Right, I have no shoes on. I have my unicorn slippers because today it's all about comfort.
Unicorn slippers. Okay, so now I've got this mental image of you now in the pink flamingo dress, the unicorn slippers, trying to untangle your hair. And I know you never use cuss words, so yeah, I can imagine this now. This is a mental image. Now, I'm going to ask you your Winky question because obviously you need to get stuck into.
Oh yes.
Now, you know there is Pancake Day.
Oh, Pancake Day.
Okay, so that's the national day dedicated to pancakes. If you could choose one other food that would have its own national day, what would it be?
Cherries.
National Cherry Day.
National Cherry Day.
That's not as bizarre as I thought. That's actually quite a good idea.
Not bizarre. I love cherries. I adore cherries. Anyone's down south and is thinking of me, go grab me some cherries because honestly, I'll be in them so fast.
Okay, well that's a remarkably straightforward and not at all surreal answer, which surprises me.
No, not today. Talk about food. We're talking about cherries.
Fantastic. Look, good luck with your hair, Winky. All I can,
thank you.
I really can't help. All I can suggest is whichever direction you rolled your hair onto the rollers, try rolling them in the opposite direction. But I'm assuming you've tried that already.
Well, I've tried that. I tell you what, here we go. For the viewers out there, if anyone can find Winky over the next week, and if you find me with all these hair curlers going in, I will give you $50 to get the things out. There you go.
Okay, there you go. There's an offer. Okay.
There's an offer.
Thanks
Can't
for talking to us, Winky. Good luck with the whole head conundrum.
Oh, thank you so much, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Trivia question answer time. Does that sound right? Trivia question answer time. Yeah, I guess so.
There's too many words in that.
Is there? Okay.
Well, just go with just answer the question already.
I will. Just pretend you didn't hear the first part of that sentence. So, what does the word Vespa, as in the scooter brand, mean? Do you know this one?
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, you speak about 300 languages, so that's cheating.
Well, not Italian, but sort of.
Go on, tell them.
Bzzz.
Yeah, it means wasp. The Vespa brand, now owned by a huge motorcycle company, Piaggio, originally was designed to be a cleaner, more kind of stylish and convenient motorcycle, if you like, so that you could drive around cities in your suit and your clothes and not get all oily and dirty. That's the idea. They've got the leg shield, and the engine has two kind of steel panels over them, so they were built for cheapness. So the original ones had the engine set to one side, which did make them a little bit difficult to corner on. It takes a while to get used to leaning slightly one side, and then much more if you're going around another corner. The stick shift, the gear lever is on the from memory, it's the left-hand side, and you basically twist it. So there's a cable that goes down into the engine, and the early ones especially were famous for the cable snapping. So you'd be happily driving along on the road, and then your gear cable would snap.
Oh my God.
And you'd just be stuck in that one gear. I mean, it's not fatal, but you would have to kind of roll to a stop. Because if you stopped at the light and you're in third or fourth gear, that's it. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I had several Vespas at one point. I can vouch for how tough and reliable they are. I once drove from London to the famous Wigan Casino, and there was a big bunch of us on the motorway, and a guy in front, his engine seized, and three of us all piled in the back of him. and I actually bent my forks, the thing the front wheel's on, and we laid the bike down and jumped up and down on it until it was straight, and I drove another 150 miles there and 200 miles back with the front wheel pointing in one direction and the handlebars pointing in another. So they're tough. Now,
wow.
Here's a question for you. So a 250cc scooter, so not a massive engine. What do you think the land speed record is for one of those? Now, they've got 10-inch wheels. That's the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, I wouldn't dare to go on the motorway in a Vespa scooter. Gosh, maybe 120 kilometers?
196.155 kilometers an hour.
Oh my God.
That is insane.
That would be terrifying because you'd be so exposed. And
I'm assuming it was modified.
Be rattling like your teeth, all your fillings would fall out.
I'm assuming it was one of those modified ones that had a kind of a bubble over it, and you would be laying down inside it with your feet out. I can't imagine he would be sitting there in his suit with his girlfriend on the back, wearing her beret, you know.
Retrogasmic. Well, it's that time again. Our show is coming to a close.
Thank you very much for listening as always. A huge thanks to Glenn for staying up late and talking to us.
Yeah, what's the time difference there? 12 hours? 13 hours?
Yeah, daylight saving, so it's 13 hours at the moment. So, yeah, really appreciate it, mate. Go and grab his album, glenmatlock.co.uk. iTunes. We are creeping up the charts in iTunes. Please, if you like what we're doing, show us some love, hop over there, leave us a review. It all helps.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Next show, I think, is going to be the Rockabilly Show and Shine special. So we will put out something up on our Facebook page when that's ready to drop.
Great. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. See ya. Bye-bye.
With Didi Deluxe
and Hattie Le Bomb.